Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Gnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaయ Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Canto 4 chapter 8 verse 9 एकदा सुरुचे पुत्रम् अङ्कम् आरोप्य लालयन् उत्तमं नारुरुक्षन्तम् ध्रुवं राजाभ्यनन्दत. Once upon a time, King Uttanapada was patting the son of Suruchi, Uttama, placing him on his lap. Dhruva Maharaj was also trying to get on the king's lap, but the king did not very much welcome him. Tata chikirshamanam tam sapatnyastanayam dhruvam Suruchi shrunvato ragnaha sershyam ahati garvita. While the child Dhruva Maharaja was trying to get on the lap of his father Suruchi, his stepmother, became very envious of the child, and with great pride she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. So, material nature, this is how people are in the material world. Grow as a simple, like small child, just trying to, you know, Uttama is also sitting, I will also sit on the father's lap. That's all, there is nothing more to it. But Suruchi, his stepmother, became very envious of the child. Envious of the child. Why should the child sit on the father's lap? Because he doesn't deserve it. And with great pride, she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. The king, of course, was equally affectionate toward both his sons, Uttama and Dhruva. So he had a natural inclination to take Dhruva as well as Uttama on his lap. But because of his favoritism towards his queen Suruchi, he could not welcome Dhruva Maharaj despite his feelings. So this is how people get stuck in the material world. So on one end they want to do something good, but on the other end they are stuck because of weakness of mind. This is all weakness of mind. Favoritism towards Queen Suruchi is weakness of mind. Hridaya Daurbalyam. Say Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says Tyaktva Tishta. Tyaktva Hridaya Daurbalyam. That Hridaya Daurbalya, weakness of heart, has to be given up. Actually, and it is one of the biggest anarthas. Is weakness of mind. Because of weakness of mind, we cannot take up anything and remain fixed on the path of bhakti. Mm. So he was attached, bodily relationship. So more attached to Queen Suruchi. So because of his favoritism. So this is also another thing, which in the we should try to avoid these things. We have our own favorites. No, we should always be as objective as possible. In terms of mostly, I mean, and these kind of things happen actually when we are in devotee community, when we are amongst devotees. Then these kind of things are seen. Somebody gets to speak, somebody gets the priority, These things should not be done, because it will unnecessarily result in wrong direction. So there should not be any favoritism. Everybody should be given equal opportunity based on their abilities. Based on their abilities, based on their mm, uh, yeah, willingness to take up things, etc., etc. Everybody should be given equal opportunity. So there is no question of being favorite. Sometimes, we see, okay, somebody is giving some donation, then there is more favoritism towards the. And these kind of things are very mundane. They're very mundane. We just create a material kind of environment by encouraging these things. So it should not be like that. Whatever be, everybody is serving. Everybody is doing their own service, their own bit to Krishna, based on their abilities, their desire to serve, etc. So they are not required to make somebody favorite and somebody else less favorite, and being partial, give more um, yeah, facilities for somebody or whatever it is. Yeah, so because of that, he could not welcome Dhruva Maharaj. So this is what happens when we have this kind of uh, not really the right things, then we end up doing wrong decisions. So ideally, as a father, he should have welcomed Dhruva Maharaj, right? And he also was feeling equally affectionate towards both. Because of this attachment to his wife, now he had to not do. He ended up not doing the right thing, which was he didn't allow, or he didn't. Now Suruchi speaks so many harsh words, and he just keeps quiet. King Uttanapada's feeling was understood by Suruchi, and therefore, with great pride, she began to speak about the king's affection for her. So it's a very political. I mean, like this whole scenario is perfect material setup, right? So she began to speak with great pride. About what? Great pride about her special relationship with king. So that the king, they will then anyway say, oh, she's raising a relationship with me, so she's giving so much importance. So then I should not go against her. But and she was very proud about her, about what she had achieved in terms of her relationship with the king. So yeah, Prabhupada says this is the nature of woman. Yeah, material woman. We don't have to, not necessarily with respect to devotees. So, and many times I've told this, right? So those who have male body today in previous life would have had a woman body. So it's not like, and those who have woman body in this life would have had male bodies in the previous life. So we don't have to become too feminist about this. Yeah, it's the nature of the woman body, and anybody who's got the woman body for whatever reason they've got, they have to be careful about these things. They have to look out for these things which are natural package with the woman body, which makes it more difficult many times. And devotees have to be extra careful if they are in the body of a woman, to avoid these pitfalls and to avoid these pitfalls. If a woman understands that her husband regards her as a favorite and is especially affectionate to her, she takes undue advantage. So this is the nature of a general woman, right? And this is something that devotees should avoid creating these kind of course, I mean, for sake of bhakti, anukulyasa sankalpa, pratikulyasa varjanam, anything can be done. That's okay. So even if you, yeah, if you take advantage, your husband likes you or your wife likes you, and take advantage of that and perform bhakti, that's okay. That's totally acceptable. But not for material benefits, material comforts, this, that, and all that. These symptoms are visible even in such an elevated society as the family of Swayambhuva Manu. Therefore, it is concluded that feminine nature of woman is present everywhere. Yeah, elevated society, low class society, whatever it is, this is the nature of a jiva who's taken the body of a woman. Mm. And also, this also shows how this world is not simple, very, very complex because of these complex emotions, complex entanglement that we put ourselves into. Things are always very, very complicated in general. In general, whether it be relationship among brahmacharis, whether it be grihasthas, all beset with all these complications, because we don't want to be simple, straightforward. Mm. And here, of course, there's also envy also, additional character. नवत्सनृपतेर्दिष्ण्यं भवानारोढुमर्हति न गृहीतो मया यत्त्वं कुक्षावपि नृपात्मजः. Queen Suruchi told Dhruva Maharaj, "My dear child, you do not deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of the king. This is so unnecessary. There's no discussion about sitting on the throne." Poor Dhruva, he had like nothing, no intention, no such intention. This shows the intention of Suruchi. She was so self-centered that is her son. She wanted her son to sit on the throne. So she's saying, you don't deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of king. Surely you're also the son of the king, but because you did not take your birth from my womb, you're not qualified to sit on your father's lap. So she's so much proud about her relationship that she can openly say that because you didn't take birth from me, it's not important that you took birth from the king. You're also the son of the king. Hmm. So in some sense, belittling, as in reducing the importance of the king's position and making her own position greater than his. Hmm. Because you did not take birth from my womb, you are not qualified to sit on your father's lap. But the king was such a, cut- mm, doll in the hands of his wife that even though there is a clear, you know, dishonor here for his position, he doesn't react. Mm. This is this is indication of how this material attachment, can make us like a Prabhupada says doll in the hands of women like that. Queen Suruchi very proudly informed Dhruva Maharaj that to be the king's son was not the qualification for sitting on the lap or throne of the king. Rather, the privilege was dependent on one's having taken birth from her womb. In other words, she indirectly informed Dhruva Maharaj that although he happened to be born of the king, he was considered an illegitimate son because of his birth from the womb of the other queen. So much proud about her position just because king was attracted to her or attached to her for whatever reason. She's just taking undue advantage. So she's doing wrong, king is doing wrong. So these things we have to note. All these, this all reflection. Like yesterday we discussed about those qualities of devastation, right? Like that whole adharma, starting from adharma, mrisha, all that. And that's what is, we can see that in dealings in this material world. And when devotees, are fed up of that outside material world and the complication and the, and all these things, when they come into the association devotees, we should not recreate this scenario. We should not make them feel like, oh, what is this? Even in devotee community, also same thing. Then why would they want to come here? They might as well be there outside. People come here because this is supposed to be oasis, like Prabhupada said. It's like the relief. Uh, uh, Devotee community ISKCON should be the relief for people who don't want to deal with all these things. They're fed up of this time and again, all these kinds of complications. Then we should make sure that we create a clean environment, clean environment amongst devotees so that anybody who is new who comes in, he or she feels comfortable, happy, wanted, and then they will want to come again and again and be one amongst us. But if we create too much of complication, I many times see devotees just create so much complication among themselves. And sometimes it's very difficult for somebody, external person, to actually intervene because it's then between two devotees, right? Um, and all these complicated situations get created, then false ego, then envy, all these things are seen. And all that simply means that one is not doing sadhana bhakti properly. They're still on the material platform. They still want to deal on the deal with others on the material platform. Prabhupada, which is why Prabhupada used to say that, I mean, especially he used to talk about management and used to say leader means one who is good in Shravanam, Kirtanam. That is a leader. So we have to set the example, which is why in our center we say that if Somebody doesn't attend at least one class in a week, then he cannot do any service. Because he should at least on the day of the satsang, at least he should sit and hear the class. Because if there is no Shravanam, then there won't be good Kirtanam, which is chanting Hare Krishna. If there's no good chanting of Hare Krishna, then the heart will not get cleansed. Uh, so no services during satsang. Counter is closed, book counter is closed, nothing else, right? People have to do Shravanam. And if there's no time given for Shravanam and it's only Seva, 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 then they'll never learn there because they'll not do Shravanam. Their chanting will not be good, so they'll not get purified. And they engaged in something. It's bhakti abhasa. It's like semblance of bhakti, but it's not going to help them make progress. And then amongst those devotees, we see all these kind of behavior, all these kind of emotions flying high. Mm. So we always have two kinds of issues, challenges. One with Matajis, there's one type of issue. With Prabhus, there's another type of issue. Among Matajis, a lot of these kind of emotional stuff happens. Among Prabhus, there is ego, very fat ego. Then they don't speak up, they don't express themselves. So all these kinds of complications. But this is all mundane. In the service of Krishna, we shouldn't bring our material nature. At least we should keep it outside the temple, outside the center, right? Once we come into the center, we should understand I'm the servant of Krishna. I'm the servant of every Vaishnava. I'm the servant of every person who is coming there. So let me remain in that position and serve sincerely. Uh, Otherwise, we bring all these kinds of complications, then it doesn't remain a devotee community. It's not a Vaishnava community. It's just some community. This kind of prestige, pride, position, la puja pratishtha, profit, we can't make progress. Mm, And also, as devotees, we have to be very, very conscious about what we are saying, what we are speaking, what is coming out of our mouth. Sometimes we are so mindless. We just speak like we are speaking to anybody else outside. Mm. And I normally see this, this fault finding is there. This is not right, that's not right. Why is being there? Yeah, okay. In the interest of service, these things can be discussed, but there is a way to approach it. There's a way to present it. There's a time to present it. There's a person to present it. So many things have to be considered. We cannot just left, right, and center go about interacting with devotees just like we interact with outside people. And again, these things happen just because we are not Krishna conscious. That's all. We're not Krishna conscious. बालोऽसि बत नात्मानम् अन्यस्त्रीगर्भसंवृतं नूनं वेद भवान् यस्य दुर्लभेऽर्थे मनोरथः. My dear child, you are unaware that you are born not of my womb but of another woman. So now she is explaining to Dhruva, who doesn't understand these things. He doesn't understand. Oh, why? What? How does it make a difference? I am the king's son. Why is it that I have to be born out of some mother or not born, not be born? But she's explaining. You are unaware of this, that you are born from not from my womb. Therefore, you should know that your attempt is doomed to failure. So she's like drilling it in, telling something which was not even it was not even thought about by Dhruva. Mm. So you can't succeed. You're trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill. Small child Dhruva Maharaj was naturally affectionate towards his father, and he did not know there was a distinction between his two mothers. This distinction was pointed out by Queen Suruchi, who informed him that since he was a child, he did not understand the distinction between the two queens. But she's saying, yeah, there is a distinction, and your mother is inferior, so your position is inferior, so you are a loser. There's another statement of Queen Suruchi's pride again. And so we have to be very careful about this. This pride. Very, very proud. We are very proud about our accomplishments. Mm. Mm. There is when there's some, one. ISKCON center outside, not in Bangalore, outside Bangalore. Somebody, I knew some devotees there, and one of our devotees, one of the devotees who hears from me in our Kannada class. So because of whatever her situation, etc., she required work. So she thought, okay, let me work for the temple center, and she was working and she was doing cleaning services, etc. Now suddenly the devotees who are like somewhat devotee families which are running the show there, running the center temple, they started treating her like a maid servant. Come here, put fan, get the chair, like that. And just because they are maybe in a better financial position, or maybe because they think that they are giving salary to this devotee, and then the devotee, called me, and then she said, no, I can't deal with this. I said, okay, it's Pranada Pisunichana, it'll help us purify, try for some more time. And then after some time she just said, no, I am not able to deal with it at all. I said, okay, then we don't work for them, don't work in the temple, because it will unnecessarily create a situation for Vaishnava aparadh. For her, for the devotee, it's dangerous to be in an environment where other people, so-called devotees, are like this. I told her, stop. You go to the center every Sunday, whatever, attend the program, satsang, come. That's all. Work somewhere else. So we have to be very, very careful with these things. Sometimes just pride goes into our, just because Krishna mercifully has given us some position. It doesn't mean that we suddenly became the master. And this is the whole problem, right? We are rotting in this material world because we want to be masters. And then in small, small areas, we want to become our own masters. If we are given in charge of a service, then suddenly we think, oh, I am the boss. We should always remember whatever devotional service is the mercy of Srimati Radharani, and she can take it off anytime. If you are not qualified, she will just take it off. So never ever should pride come in the way. We should never be proud of anything. What are we? What have we done to be proud of, really? We are rotting in this miserable material world, and we are proud of about what? About nothing really. Which doesn't, none of what we have accomplished in this material world adds up to anything meaningful. Because if it were to add up to anything meaningful, we wouldn't have been in this material world. So we have to always remember, I am not the master, I am the servant, I am the servant. That is why Prabhupada says, if somebody is always still trying to be a master, how can he become a servant? He's still attempting to be master. That is why this is Nama Aparadh, Aham and Mama. Mm, mm. So yesterday I was hearing one lecture by my Guru Maharaj, is on his Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So I'll share that. It was about 10 offenses. A very, very insightful lecture. So it was saying, like, it's not, Namaparad is not about only the time of chanting, right? Namaparad is about the attitude of the devotee. And he was saying that Prabhupada in preface of Nectar of Instruction has said the progress in Krishna consciousness of a devotee depends on his attitude. Attitude means what kind of qualities we demonstrate. Mm. So it's very important that we know these things are not good. It's not like nobody needs to come and teach us saying that, pride is not good. We know about all these things, general knowledge. But we still feel, sometimes we feel justified. It's okay, but anything that comes between us and Krishna is not okay. So this is one of the actually insights into anartha nivritti. If we have to get rid of anarthas, first we should recognize the anartha. Second, we should desire to get rid of the anartha. First of all, we don't recognize our anartha, what are not good things in us. Second, even after recognizing it, we don't desire to get rid of it. We are okay to nourish it. Maybe not as gross as it was before, but we are still nourishing it. And then we will say, no, no, I've been practicing and this and that. I've been chanting, but nothing is happening. My anarthas are. That is because we are not desired. We have yet not desired to get rid of it. If we seriously, sincerely desire to get rid of our anarthas, it will go. They will go. They will go. And of course, we have to do little bit effort. Yesterday, Maharaj was saying in that class, he was saying, people all want simply mercy, mercy, mercy. They're all behind mercy. But for us to get mercy, we have to put effort. This is Damodar Lila. Without putting any effort, if you want just mercy, Krishna is not going to reciprocate. He says, where is your part? Where are you playing your part? Are you trying? Are you trying sincerely? So we have to try to, control our lower nature or give up our lower nature. Actually, we can't control. We have to give up our lower nature, which means Rajoguna, Tamoguna behavior, we have to give up. Which means as much as possible, we should be in the mm, on the either the Sattva or the Shuddha Sattva platform, which is either the devotional platform or at least Sattva Guna platform, which is not Rajo and Tamo. Mm. And the environment in which we choose to remain, that is our choice. We are making the choice. Mm. Yesterday, somebody what you were saying that like totally like dragged down by Tamoguna, not able to do anything, no work is happening. Just very depressed, frustrated. So I was telling the devotee saying that see, this is the environment you've chosen to create and chosen to remain within. Break out of it. Come into another environment continuously, repeatedly, every day. Then possibly you can come out of it. But we don't want to because we don't really desire to get out of those anarthas. We get some kind of, some kind of happiness being in our anarthas. So we don't really put necessary effort. So all the anarthas that we have, we have to be really, like I said, first recognize it, be absolutely desire to get rid of the nonsense, and then put some effort and beg for mercy. And this begging for mercy is the chanting process, actually. So when we are praying to Radha Krishna saying that please engage me in your service, we know that what are we talking about? We're talking about pure devotional service. We are praying to Radha Krishna to engage us in pure devotional service. And we know these are the anarthas which are actually between me, my position, and pure devotion. So that means what are we indirectly praying to Radha Krishna? Please remove these anarthas. So, which means that we should desire, we should pray, we should put some effort. Hmm. तपसाराध्य पुरुषं तस्यैवानुग्रहेण मे गर्भे त्वं साधयात्मानं यदीच्छसि नृपासनम्. If you at all desire to rise to the throne of the king, again, see, she is stuck. Whereas mind is stuck. Throne, 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 throne. And for that small child who doesn't understand anything, she's like already twice, thrice talked about this. Then you have to undergo severe austerities. First of all, you must satisfy the Supreme Person of Godhead, Narayana. And then when you are favored by him because of such worship, you shall have to take your next birth from my womb. So this is an offense. Our Acharya say that this is an offense. Suruchi offended Narayana here. Hmm. Suruchi was so envious with Dhruva Maharaj that she indirectly asked him to change his body. So he is saying, die. So envious. Saying you don't deserve to be alive, you are not going to get anything, just die, then again take birth in my womb. First thing. First of all, he had to die, then take his next body in her womb, and only then it would be possible for Dhruva to ascend the throne of his father. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary, he says that this is offending Narayana because if somebody satisfies Narayana, I mean, he can get whatever he wants. Why should he ask Narayana to make Dhruva take birth in Suruchi's womb? That means she's offending Narayana's position. Hmm. And she thinks she's so great that Somebody should get to go to Narayana, then Narayana has to bless that Jiva to come and take birth in her womb. Hmm. Very offensive attitude towards Narayana. So again, very, very proud of her position. And when, because she's proud, she's blind. She's blinded by what she's saying, what she's doing, completely wrong. Maitreya Uvacha. मातुसपत्न्या सदुरुक्तिविद्धा श्वसन् दण्डहतो यताहिः हित्वा मिषन्तं पितरं सन्नवाचं जगाम मातु प्ररुदन् सकाशम्. The sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, is a snake and struck by a stick, breathes very heavily. Dhruva Maharaj, having been struck by the strong words of his stepmother, began to breathe very heavily because of great anger. And of course, Dhruva's anger was not about kingdom and this and that. It was just she didn't let me sit on my father's lap. When he saw that his father was silent and did not protest, he immediately left the palace and went to his mother. Actually, this is also one of the sins. Uh, if somebody is dependent on us, we have to help them. So when Dhruva saw, looked at his father, helplessly, saying that, what is this? I want to sit on your lap. He was silent and did not protest or did not help Dhruva. He immediately left the place. No, this was a sin on the part of the king. And because Dhruva was a Kshatriya, so he became angry. For a Kshatriya, of course, it is okay to become angry for establishing dharma. But this doesn't give us a license to become angry at things that happen to us on a daily basis. Tam nishvasantam spuritādharostam sunītirutsanga uduhya balam nishamya tatpauramukhan nitantam sa vivyathe yad gaditam sapatnyam. When Dhruva Maharaj reached his mother, his lips were trembling in anger and he was crying very grievously. So both anger and emotionally affected, and is angry as well as crying. Queen Suniti immediately lifted her son onto her lap, while the palace residents, who had heard all the harsh words of Suruchi, related everything in detail. The Suniti also became greatly aggrieved. Sotsrujya dhairyam vilalapashoka davagninadavalate bala vakyam sapatnya smarati saroja priyadrusha bashpakalam uvaha. This incident was unbearable to Suniti's patience. She began to burn as if in a forest fire, and in her grief she became just like a burnt leaf and so lamented. As she remembered the words of her co-wife, her bright lotus-like face filled with tears, and thus she spoke. When a man is aggrieved, he feels exactly like a burnt leaf in a forest fire. Suniti's position was like that. Although her face was as beautiful as a lotus flower, it dried up because of the burning fire caused by the harsh words of her co-wife. Yeah, Suniti was saintly, maybe. Good person. Not maybe, yeah, she was a good person. But she was very, very emotionally, very emotional. See, this is one thing we have to learn actually. That we are all in this material world. We're going to have, life is going to be difficult. Life is difficult in Kali Yuga. No questions asked. That all of us have our own karma phala, and yeah, whenever these karma phala, this hits us, then we also become like a burnt leaf. But why does Krishna in second chapter Bhagavad Gita is still not begun at all, literally. Just beginning. Matra sparshasta konteya sitoshna sukudakada. Agama paino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. Why is Krishna saying tam stitikshasva? Hmm? Why is Krishna telling us to be tolerant? Any idea? Why do we have to be tolerant?
Prabhu, if you are not in that situation, your mind will be agitated.
Okay, if you are not tolerant, your mind will be agitated. Okay. What else?
Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, that
Yeah.
time will be not be permanent, that will change.
Okay, good. Okay, because it's temporary. Okay.
Prabhuji, it's one of the qualities a devotee should have.
No, I'm asking why. It is a quality, but why should we have that? Yeah, Samantha.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
If you're not tolerant, it leads to envy. Yeah, this thing ultimately anger, which is
Okay.
the base of everything.
Okay. Why is Krishna saying this? Why do you think Krishna said this in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita?
Because Prabhu, he is going to take away all your material, this thing, and the
No, he's not going to take
renunciation. Renunciation. If you have to surrender all your material, this thing, and then go to him. The I has to be first surrendered. So you
Okay.
have to be tolerant doing it, no, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So, see, we have to understand this actually. This is a very deep insight into Bhagavad Gita. Actually, Krishna, just before this, he says, Natvevam jatunasam natvam neme janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. So, Krishna first tells Arjuna, saying, we are spirit soul. So, he says, as a spirit soul doesn't, there's no death, etc. Right? So, we are all spirit soul. But then he says, but though you're a spirit soul, you've got this body. You got this body. And elsewhere it says body is Vyadi Mandira. Adi Mandira. It's a temple of disease, trouble, misery. So Krishna is saying, telling Arjuna, see, you are the soul. If you can actually come to the stage of being a soul or understanding that you're a soul, which is Brahma Bhuta, then you are anyway not affected at all. But till we get there, tolerate whatever comes. Tolerate, because actually it's not happening to you, but because you don't understand that it's not happening to you, you still think, oh yeah, it's my body. I am hungry. I my hair, I am suffering. So we think that I means Atma. We think that I am suffering. So because we are conditioned, Krishna is saying, no, no, you are actually not that body. The suffering is coming to the body. You're the soul. But till you come to the stage of self-realization, please tolerate whatever comes to this body, whatever happens in connection with this body. If we can't tolerate, when we will not come to self-realization, we will never come to realize that I am the Atma. Because we'll always be jumping up and down with respect to anything and everything connected to the body, which could be directly body, which could be mind, it could be family, it could be whatever else that we are materially attached to. So when things go wrong in connection with all these things, material things that we are attached to, and we are affected, that means we are on the bodily platform. So Krishna is saying, if you want to realize that you are not the body, that you are spirit soul, you have to tolerate. And then devotees are always in trouble, and they come saying that, oh, there's so much of, I'm like very disturbed. But why are they disturbed? Because there's a situation which is disturbing them. Uh, what about yesterday? That situation was not there, so they were okay. So which means that Krishna said, okay, you are okay when everything is okay. Now let's see what you will do when things are not okay. And then we burn like we act like we become like a burnt leaf. You know why Kunti Maharani prays? Continue all these issues. Let us all have all this suffering. Actually, materially for sadhakas like us, continuous suffering will make us fixed in our resolve of wanting to raise above the body. If there is continuous trouble, every day we keep remembering, oh, I am not the body, I'm spiritual, I should not be suffering. This is coming to the body. And we will keep hearing Atma Jnana, every day we might remember. And eventually one day we might come to the state saying that, yeah, this is just to the body. Why am I so worried about it? But if we don't, if we get, okay, some one little problem gone, then we again forget. We again forget that I am not the body. Again, after some days, there's a break. Then again, some karma hits. Then again, we go down. Then again, we read Bhagavad Gita, we talk to devotees, and devotees say, no, you're not the body. This is temporary. Then again, we are like, okay, let me tolerate. We will tolerate up till when? Till the problem has to go immediately. In short time, the problem has to go. Then we'll be like, okay, I tolerate. But now, when the problem goes beyond our tolerance, so we wanted the problem to get solved in 1 week. Now it has gone up to 1 month. Then we start struggling. So this is all because we still think that we are the body, and everything connected to the body is mama, aham, and mama. This is nama parada. So simple. That is why we are where we are. Our chanting is not helping us because we are still in this aham mama. And this aham mama is happening all the time. So we cannot be like this. We cannot burn, in grief when we have trouble, when we have problems. Those are the tests or opportunities for us to actually raise above this bodily platform, bodily conception. So as devotees, we have to take these as opportunities. It's like test and exam, like unit test for children. It's like a unit test for us. Oh, you heard this? You're not the body. Okay, chalo, let's see how much you can implement, actually apply. Then we fail. It's okay. We should realize that I failed. Okay, I'm going to try again next time. Again, next time something came, we should try again. Say we fail. We keep trying till we reach a stage where we stop getting affected by this body and things connected with this body. When we will get over this aham and mama, when we will get over this nama parada stage. So actually yesterday, there's also some discussion we're having with respect to Vaishnava Parad and all these things. So then and Maharaj was discussing in the class. So he was saying, see, if we are trying to help somebody, suppose say I tell some devotee saying, no, don't think like this. Then you'll remain on the bodily platform. Then then it'll be an nama parad. You can't make progress. No, that you are saying those words just for, I mean, with full intention of welfare of the devotee. But if the devotee takes it otherwise, it's his problem. It's not a Vaishnava aparadh. Because you didn't do anything to, blaspheme the devotee or criticize the devotee. You're just trying to actually very, humbly try to help that person, actually, well-wisher. You're being a well-wisher of that devotee. Of course, then position, this, that, all that things comes, right? Who's saying to whom, who can say, etc., etc. All those also have to be factored in. But the whole idea is that we should be helping each other to make progress. And if somebody is helping us to make progress, if we're getting upset with that person, then we are just fallen. That's all. We don't really want Krishna. We want our false ego. That's all. Which means that we are just material bhakti, mishra bhakti. Okay, so we have to be very careful about which is why I said these chapters have like so much of teaching, yeah. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanwad.
Yeah,
Prabhuji, yes, we say we should tolerate. We still, keep ourselves on the bodily concept. Now, what happens, Prabhuji, many a times we have seen when you're not able to tolerate or it is beyond that, in No, it should be that in Krishna consciousness increases, but many a
Correct.
time you see they get away, they leave Krishna consciousness and they go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Again.
that's a very sad this thing. And
Yeah.
they even don't come to the temple, or they're blaming Krishna.
Yeah.
And then if the person who's left the body has been in Krishna consciousness for years, then they say, my so and so was doing so much of seva, ye kara, kya mila, kya
Yeah.
nahi. Now, how do you preach to that sort of a person?
No, actually, yeah, maybe we discussed some part of it previously also. But all we need to do is we need to be there with the devotee. That's all we need to do in this situation. Actually, the only favor that we can do to the devotee is just give him or her association. Just make sure that the devotee doesn't go away, doesn't get lost. So even if it means we are simply there and we're just going, visiting the devotee, giving some prasadam, just talking the way that devotee wants us to, as in it just doesn't matter. The idea is that at this point of time, that devotee should not go out of devotee association. What can I do to make sure that at least he or she remains in touch with me, so that then I can become the means to pull him or her back into devotee association? That's all that needs to be handled at that time, right? When somebody is in deep distress, we can't really, we can't, I mean, and people will take their own time to come out of these situations. So we can't force no philosophy at that point of time will bring them out. All we have to do is just compassion, be with them at that point of time. That's all. And then in course of time, when their pain reduces a little bit, then we can remind them of all the philosophy that they already know. So we have to be sensitive about these things, but at the same time, it's not like we shouldn't come to the bodily platform along with them. And sometimes we are only so weak that we go along with them and we also come down to the body. So we have to be strong. That's why Prabhupada said, if you have to save somebody else, we have to first be strong. So we should be strong, and then we will just not say anything. Just be there, That person should feel like, oh yeah, see, such a nice devotee. He or she has been with me through my really difficult time. Then they will slowly open up. Then they will they should start asking questions, saying that, ye kyun ho gaya, kyun ho gaya? Then when their mind is more sober, then we will start reminding them of the philosophy they already know. It's not that devotees don't know philosophy, they can't accept it. When they're agitated, they can't accept it. So we have to let them little bit calm down. Sober mind, they can understand. And these things we can say only if we are actually genuinely compassionate. Genuinely, if we want somebody's welfare, we will try these things. Yeah, it depends situation to situation, but yeah, this is something that comes to my mind. Okay, anything else?
Pranam, Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Pranam.
Prabhuji, just wanted to ask, like all the contaminations we discussed and whatever bad is there in us, it is there in the subtle mind, because soul being pure cannot have these contaminations,
But
no?
soul just doesn't think that it's the soul. We just think that we are the body, we are the mind. So the soul is contaminated. Soul has a contaminated consciousness. Whereas the soul thinks that I am the enjoyer. That is why we have to separate ourselves out, separate the Atma from the body and mind, and say, okay, this is the mind, this is not me, I am pure, I am a servant of Krishna. Then we have come out of the contamination. But till we keep, oh yeah, yeah, this happened, that happened, which we are just on the mental platform, bodily platform, that means that soul is not willing to exercise its independence, free will at all. Soul is happy to be in this bodily condition. That is what we call contaminated consciousness. That's why the whole process of bhakti is to clean up the contamination around the soul. So the soul has to stop being aham and mama, thinking of this body as me and everything connected to the body as mine. Soul has to start exercising its free will, but that requires spiritual strength. So this is the whole process of bhakti. chanting Hare Krishna, etc. But the soul is in contaminated consciousness. Soul per se is not, but the soul is enveloped by contamination. So it cannot really express itself.
Okay,
few-
Prabhuji. Um,
Yeah.
And one more thing, like some devotees say that since ladies do not do Dandvat Pranam, they are not supposed to say Dandvat Pranam. Like they only say pranams. How far it is?
Yeah. I mean, we should just say, see, actually, we should understand this whole, what is the Vaishnava etiquette? The Vaishnava etiquette is as soon as we see a Vaishnava, we have to offer pranams according to our whatever, Prabhu should do Dandavat, Mataji should do Panchang. Whenever we see a devotee, this is expected practice. So Vaishnava etiquette is as soon as we come into the temple, if the altar is closed, then we do Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha. And we should do Dandavat if men, Panchanga if women. If the altar is open, of course, we don't do. We do it in the heart. We just offer our prayers to all the Vaishnavas there. So the idea of this Dandavat, which is why, the English is nice. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is the mood. So that can be translated as Dandavat Pranam, that can be translated as Panchang Pranam. But we can just say Pranam because then it will say like, Prabhus will say Dandavat Pranam, Matajis, why Matajis are saying Dandavat? Because they never put Dandavat. So you can just say Pranam. Of course, I mean, these are all just some subtleties, etc. But in the midst of all this, we forget the mood of actually respect for the Vaishnava. That we just in this Pranam, Dandavat Pranam, this, that, and all. But actually, even when we say Dandavat Pranam, actually, are we feeling? Are we in that mood of, offering obeisances to that person, respecting that person, willing to serve that person? That is more important than these things. But yeah, just as a practice, instead of all this confusion, we can also simply say, please accept my humble obeisances, which is, and pranam, all these are just, we are trying to translate that, the show of respect. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll close. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Anantapoti Vaishnava ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everyone.